Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Musings of the Knights of Rizal episode on Know Your Knights. As you might have already known, uh, the goal of the episode Know Your Knights is for the KOR universe to shrink, meaning that sometimes we see knights from different parts of the world who are active in Facebook or in other social media, and yet we don't really know who they are because of even if we see them in our assemblies, sometimes it's really hard with the busy schedule to really get to know them. So hopefully with this program, we can as they say, break the ice and start a conversation, and maybe go from there. How the conversation will go. So at this point, we are very lucky to have Sir Danny of Australia. Sir Danny, can you introduce yourself, please? Your background, your personal background, family.
Yeah, magandang hapon good afternoon from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for the invitation. First of all, Sir Alwin, I think the program is great to be able to reach out to all our brother knights all over the world. And this is very important to share our vision and mission for the Knights of Rizal. Actually, I've been in Australia since 1974, so it's been a long time. I was a young family when I migrated here. Hindi pa uso, it's not yet at the time, there's no OFW. Now, I didn't come here to, well, of course, the Peralta family, Danny Peralta po is my name, and our clan actually come from mga Ilonggo. We are from Kalibo clan in Aklan, and our ancestors there are traced back in 1788. We have a family tree on that one, and the Peralta clan is scattered all over the regions of the Philippines, and in our side actually, went to the shore, and we were the Tagalog region. So I have three children, two of them born in Philippines and one born in Australia, and 74 is my migration via Papua New Guinea, and at the time New Guinea, Papua New Guinea is called Australia New Guinea, so it's still under the territory of Australia at the time, and they gained independence in 1975. We finally decided to move to Sydney, which is the melting pot of all the states of Sydney being the diversified state where you could go anywhere, you could go fishing, you could go, there's no winter. Winter here is only about 5 degrees. So,
Very
so
nice.
which is suitable to us for the family. And I grew up from there until I became the group financial controller of one of the biggest property development in Sydney. And I retired 1996. So I've been retired and dedicated myself after that to community.
And who and how were you recruited in the Knights of Rizal?
It's a long story. Actually, 1996, I did not actually join the Knights of Rizal until 2013. What really happened here is that this is by accident. And uh, one of our senior Knights of Rizal at the time, Sir Philip Reynoso, is used to be our regional commander at the time, and he actually approached me, but it didn't actually reinforce straight away because I was a bit busy in the other association. But because I'm also a treasurer of the PCC, which is the Philippine Community Council New South Wales, who is the peak body of the Filipino Community Association in New South Wales, we have what you call a presentation of the cultural dance, where the officers are required to participate, which we call it Grigodon. So we're doing a practice. And one of the member of the Knights of Rizal, Cesar Bartolome, who is the chapter commander then, actually was there. And so I saw him and I said, oh, wait, are you also a participant of the Grigodon? He said, yes. So we had a conversation, and he mentioned to me that, where are you? Where are you? What are you doing? And I said to him that, I am the founding president of Tagalog Association of Australia, and also I'm the treasurer of PCC, as you know, and that's the only association at the moment that I've got. And he said, well, are you interested in joining the Night of Rizal? That's what he told me. And I said to him, well, what is that? What is that organization? Because Rizal, we know about the name. And he said, well, you join, and we'll give you some information, some pamphlets, some flyers, and things like so you'll be able to see. Right then and there, I said, why not? And I said to him, look, so we have a bet and a challenge to each other. And I said to him, look, you join the night, you join my Tagalog Association, and I'll join you for the Night of Rizal. So that's the start of me joining the Night of Rizal.
Very nice to hear.
Yeah.
I guess it just a stroke of luck that you were with the Rigodon dance practice. You were able to meet with the Knights of Rizal, and with your background in accountancy and with your network with the organizations there, especially with the PCC. I think maybe that was really a good find for the Knights of Rizal to be able to have you as knighted. Now, sir, what impressed you, sir, about the Knights of Rizal once you got a little bit into it?
It influenced me primarily on three things, which is already in my innate character. It's already there anyway. What we are talking about is the patriotism. That is the main thing, because if you haven't got that, it will be difficult for you to be able to understand about the life of any hero. Humanism, which he is very strong on that, meaning we have to treat each other with respect. In the last one is, of course, which is always protecting about the proper education. I think those are the things that are important, that actually imparted me to be able to pursue diligently why should I involve with the Night of Rizal. Yeah.
Wow, very looks like you really looked into it. You really put your heart in and seriousness in the organization. Now, sir, what are you proud about the Knights of Rizal in Australia? What one trait of the Australian KOR, if I could call it, are you proud of that you would like to tell the world that sets you apart, I guess, from the other KOR, if you can say it that way?
I think, as I mentioned to you, we've been existing for almost 50 years. In fact, I think with the 75 years Philippine-Australian relationship, diplomatic relationship this year, for 75 years, Nigel Rizal of Sydney will be coming, will be 50 years, almost 50 years now, of being an organization in Sydney. So it gives me the opportunity to be able to meet the challenges of what really I'm looking for. And I think it's important that in all leadership. So after 2 years, I become a chapter commander. So I become a chapter commander, which I had carried that position for almost 4 Rizalian years. So I'm still a chapter commander since December 2020, and an area commander at the same time. But I think the challenge here is that being a leader, you need to lead, and you have to take the initiative, because I learned in the corporate world that you cannot compare yourself in the higher echelon, because having achieved a higher position in any corporate world, which is a big corporation, I learned from my bosses, from my superiors, that he told me that, Danny, you cannot be your subordinate or your staff. You cannot compare it. And you cannot expect them to respond to what you want straight away. It will take a time to be able to dissect what they they wanting from you. But being a leader, which I'm already get used with it, being a leader, you need to have that initiative. You need to push yourself to the limit. Uh, if you want to do something and someone will not going to abide with what you want to say, you want to do, then there's no project that you can accomplish if you're not going to take the initiative. You have to take the lead in initiative to do it. Set an example to be able to others could recognize you that that if if the project is being done and the work is being done through your initiative in all the complementary in assimilation of duties, and you are doing it collectively rather than individually, then at the end you will going to reap the benefit. And that's what we are doing in what we are achieving at the moment.
Now, sir, as you lead the Knights of Rizal by being both area commander and chapter commander of the Sydney chapter in Australia, what's your inspiration, sir, in your leadership? What inspires you? What pushes you when you see, when obviously, as you know, in organizations there's ups and downs and there's frustrations and successes.
Hey,
When you see some challenges, what inspires you? What's your inspiration in continuing being a leader?
I think it's a uh, in life you should experience what you call the extremities in life. Otherwise, there are certain level of work that you have to achieve. If you don't achieve that, then you cannot be successful. And I think that's very important. The experience is important to be able to share with everybody, and also become more interactive and try to appreciate also other people. And because if you if someone make a mistake, or someone because even though how grievous it is, you don't curse them, you don't tell them that you're nothing or whatever. No, you just appreciate that he has done it based on his contribution to what he can do. But when you are dealing with people in terms of organization, you need to have that persuasive leadership,
Right.
persuasion,
Mhm.
and that
Yes.
is a difference. You
Yes.
don't say to anyone he made a mistake because he's angry with the other one, and you meet them and you are in the middle and they're asking you advice and you lead them to fight each other. No, you just leave them each other in go between. You appreciate the way they do it, even though that's how I look at it.
Yes.
So in the long run, what the reciprocation of that is that they're giving you that sort of respect also.
I think, sir, I think you're right, sir, because as you know, the Knights of Rizal is a voluntary organization. Unfortunately, if you don't have the commitment, people come and go in the organization. And I truly believe that you have to have more, because there's really no financial rewards in the organization. In fact, you actually you actually dole out instead
Yeah,
of coming in. And obviously, depending on again the commitment of the of a member, it's easy for the member to be disillusioned when things are not going their way. So I really think that persuasion, sir, is very important, like you said, and also the level of success. As they say, success begets success.
yeah,
So small success, small steps until you reach your goal, but you
yeah.
have to appreciate the success that you get, even though they're small. And I agree with you on that, sir. Sir, I wanted to also ask you. I know that there are a lot of stakeholders in the Knights of Rizal in Sydney. How do you, sir, describe, and for our Knights of Rizal too who are listening, how would you describe the relationship of maybe the Knights of your chapter with other stakeholders, maybe uh, the Philippine consulate or maybe other organizations? How do you see the commingling of these organizations, and how what do you think would be a good way for them to work together?
It's a very good question, but uh, there is a big accomplishments that Knights of Rizal has done, and also, as I said, it's almost 50 years now. Um, we've been a bit stagnant. The operations and the organization has been stagnant for almost 20, 25 years. When I say stagnant, we have not been able to expand the chapters. We're not recruiting any new members. It's limited. There's some limited recruitment on that. Since we had the leadership change, and when I get in, Cesar Bartolome was in, and we have also other members who think positively. Uh, so we were able, as I said to you, it's through initiative to be able to achieve what you want to do for the organization.
Wow.
Now, what I'm saying here is that we started from a small but expanded. So there was a what you call a it didn't have any activity for almost 20 years when I joined in. When we started, I created and started the first answer region assembly in 2018. So that's the first one that after so many years, the first time that we have had a regional conference
Assembly.
in 2018. That was one of the best assembly that we have had, if not of the world. You just have to hear the comments of Sir Leo about that. It's a 3 days activities. We also shown the play of Cabeza Tales, which we co-produced by the Knights of Rizal, which I am involved with. So uh, I think uh, all of these accomplishments in the transition of work that we have done enormously has influenced the strong presence of our organization in Sydney, if not in Australia, to the tantamount that even even some organization in Australia are saying that we need to get the Knights of Rizal to be able to lead the Filipino community. As I learned from Chief Justice Puno, our previous Supreme Commander, when we had a conversation one time, and he said to me, you know, said Danny, I've seen the answer region. I know you have only a few members in your area, in your region, but I would rather see a quality of members of the Knights of Rizal rather than quantity. That's why in Sydney, we've been existing, our chapter has been existing for almost 50 years. We only have 35 members because of the pre-selection process that we have to do it in a proper way.
Now that's very nice, sir.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna say something that you might not recognize. It's called the snowball effect.
Yes.
You know, it's usually wet, kind of wet snow, and you
Yeah.
roll it, and
Yeah.
it gathers some more snow until it's bigger than what you started with. So I think
Correct.
maybe that's something that's very admirable in you, having the initiative and people following through and seeing the and other organizations seeing the improvements and the, like you said, initiative and the leadership, and they just follow. They were in need of something like the Knights of Rizal to kind of tickle them and make them again involved. Now, sir, you did mention about quality versus quantity. I wanted to ask you, sir, what to you, sir, is an ideal night?
One quality which is very important to us is you got to have a good moral character. A good moral character constitute being a good knight. Uh, in our organizations here in Sydney, there are only three things that I normally say to them. There are only three things. One is you need, being a Knight of Rizal, you are obligated to attend two events, which is important to our organization. The birthday of Jose Rizal for June 19, which we normally held a red line ceremony, in also the December 30, which is the commemoration of martyrdom of Dr. Rizal. I don't oblige them to attend conscientiously for the meeting because important to me, first and foremost, is family. Second is work. And the third is your community, if you have the time. Because you cannot expect one member to be only involved with the Knights of Rizal. They might have other community association that they're involved with, right? So I don't oblige them if they said, sorry, said Danny, I cannot attend the meeting because I have work commitment. What can you do? That's acceptable. You can, but one thing I make sure is that being a member of the Knights of Rizal, we devise a system where in the minutes of meeting you have either a present in the meeting, you are an apology, or you're absent. Okay? So if you're always absent, what do you expect us to give you promotion and give you medals? You can. So we establish that kind of records where we know exactly, and I know exactly where one person, one particular night has started when he becomes KR, when he becomes KOR, when he becomes elevated to exalted to KCR, how many medals, distinguished medals, or that he received. So we know exactly uh, what particular medal each and every one of us will has received. What I'm saying here is that you give due respect to people who actually work harder and work hard for the sake of the organization, rather
I
than
see.
those who are just there in paper, and you will well they will just join and forget about it just
Mhm.
for the paper. So we are following strictly what we want to give as a respect to our members of the Knights of Rizal in Ansel region. And by saying that, we will always tell them that these are the obligations, and we understand about your commitments also with other activities and events that you in your family, in your community, you're committing. But because you are willing to join our organization, we are asking you to understand the responsibility being a knight.